There are diseases that terrify even the most experienced doctors. Conditions so rare, so grotesque in their manifestation, that they feel more like curses than illnesses. This is the real-life horror story of a woman whose body turned against her in the most literal sense, not metaphorically, not symbolically. Her body began to create a second skeleton, one that slowly imprisoned her from within. By the time she reached adulthood, she was encased in bone, unable to move, barely able to breathe. Yet horrifyingly, she remained completely conscious through it all. This is the true case of a 36-year-old woman in Brazil who lived through one of the most disturbing conditions known to medical science. Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva, or FOP, a disease that turns muscle into bone, a body into a prison, and life into a slow, suffocating death. It started when she was just a child. Around the age of 6, her parents noticed she had trouble turning her neck. She'd wince when looking over her shoulder and often complained of stiffness in her back and shoulders. At first, it seemed harmless, perhaps a minor strain, bad posture, or something she would simply grow out of. Doctors suspected muscular tension and prescribed basic physical therapy, but nothing helped. As she grew older, the stiffness worsened. Hard nodules began to form beneath her skin, lumps that didn't go away. By the time she was 10, she suffered a minor fall from her bicycle, scraping her knee and bruising her elbow. It wasn't a serious injury, but within weeks her left arm stopped moving, her shoulder locked. She couldn't lift it anymore. Imaging scans revealed something impossible: new bone formations bridging her joints. Her tendons had turned into rigid structures of calcified bone. Her body was growing skeletal material in places where bone should never be. Doctors were baffled. Cancer was suspected, but the scans didn't show tumors. Biopsies revealed the unthinkable. Bone was growing in her soft tissue. It wasn't a tumor, it was her own skeletal system replicating itself. Eventually, genetic testing revealed the answer. She was diagnosed with Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva, a genetic condition so rare that fewer than 900 cases have ever been confirmed globally. With FOP, even the tiniest injury or inflammation can trigger the body to produce bone instead of scar tissue. Her immune system interpreted any trauma, even a minor bump, as a reason to lay down calcium. Her body's healing response was its own undoing, and surgery only made things worse. Attempts to remove these bones could cause aggressive regrowth, leading to even more ossification. FOP, in essence, punished any attempt to intervene. By her 20s, the disease had advanced in horrifying ways. Her spine had fused in a curved, locked position. She couldn't turn at the waist or tilt her head. Her shoulders had become immobile, her elbows locked. Her jaw stiffened to the point where she could barely open her mouth to eat. Even her ribs began to fuse, constricting her lungs and reducing her ability to breathe. Breathing became shallow. Lying flat was dangerous. Putting pressure on inflamed areas could trigger new bone growth. Every cough, every stumble, every small fever carried catastrophic risk. By 30, she needed assistance for nearly everything: eating, bathing, dressing. Each task became a battlefield of pain and prevention. Even the pressure from a chair could start the ossification process in her hips or back. Nurses had to move her with extreme caution. A misplaced hand could doom her to another irreversible fusion. The psychological toll of the disease is impossible to overstate. She remained mentally sharp, fully aware, fully conscious. She knew what was happening to her, understood the science, and recognized the prognosis. She watched her body close in around her, limb by limb, joint by joint. Over time, her world became smaller, quieter. Friends stopped visiting. She could no longer go outside. The act of walking or even standing became impossible. Her bones, new and old, pinned her into a permanent posture of stillness. Her mind, however, was untouched, trapped behind a cage of calcium. When asked what she feared most, she didn't say death. She said eternity. The idea of living like this forever, frozen alive, was the true horror. Doctors considered interventions, but FOP offers no mercy. There is no cure, no treatment. Even corticosteroids and bone growth inhibitors offered only temporary relief. Attempts at surgery were ruled out. Bone grew back faster and stronger in nearly every documented case. A small dental procedure caused inflammation in her jaw. Within days, she lost the ability to open her mouth wide enough for a spoon. She could no longer chew solid food. Every solution birthed a new problem. It was like fighting a fire with gasoline. Her medical team described her condition as one of the worst manifestations of FOP they had ever seen. Her X-rays were terrifying. Bone wrapped around her muscles, new skeletal structures layered on top of her original skeleton like armor growing inward. By 36, she had developed more than 20 rogue bones, some fusing her limbs to her torso, others locking her knees in unnatural angles. Her once soft frame had transformed into a jagged sculpture of agony. Her chest was so restricted that she was at constant risk of respiratory failure. A common cold, the flu, or even seasonal allergies could suffocate her. But somehow she endured. Year after year, she continued to fight, if not for a cure, then at least for recognition. Her case was documented in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2022, offering medical professionals a glimpse into the cruelty of FOP. But for her, it wasn't just a case study. It was her life. When people asked her how she stayed strong, she simply said she didn't have a choice. She was living inside her own tomb, fully conscious, fully aware. She was the only prisoner, the only witness, and the only victim of her second skeleton. She once whispered to a nurse, "I'm a ghost trapped in a body that won't stop building walls." That statement haunted the medical team for years. Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva is more than just a rare disease. It's a living nightmare, a genetic curse that turns the body into stone while the mind remains untouched. There are children born today who carry the gene and don't know it yet. One bruise, one surgery, one fall could trigger it. There are no screening programs, no reliable treatments. Only the cruel passage of time and the slow, grinding progression of bone where no bone should be. The disease doesn't just steal movement, it steals futures, dreams, and dignity. So the next time you bruise your knee or recover from a sprain, be grateful. Grateful that your body heals the right way, that your muscles remain soft, that your joints stay free. Because for those with FOP, every healing process is a step toward imprisonment, a reminder that their bodies are betraying them, that their flesh is lying, that deep inside them, another skeleton is waiting to grow.